Yikes, you with Tacitus today at your pushback channel, Tacitus today, and thank you for joining this audio live stream. In this essay, excuse me, in this essay, I'd like to talk about something that I regard as very disturbing and a reflection of just how far the deep state is going in implementing the globalist project on one hand, and how they're prepared to be brutal in attacking those that defy them. Defiance cannot be accepted, and it's getting closer and closer to the old autocratic communist regimes, where any sort of defiance is treated as an act of high treason, to even disagree with the ruling elite and the society they're attempting to structure. But just aside from there's a large part of the private sector that really is in partnership with globalist government to push the globalist project. And it doesn't matter whether it's adverts for beer that push LGBT or that push radical feminism, or all white men are evil, or President Joe Biden going to the black students in a university saying the biggest threat to America is white supremacy. All of this taken in sort of the aggregate illustrates just how far these people are prepared to go. And in line with that, and I touched on this a little while ago or a few months ago, we asked one of our staff to go and inquire about just some human resource administration software. This was more to keep tabs of people on we got working on projects and the different pay rates and hourly rates that the people are, and so they get paid on time. So it's really sort of more into payroll administration, you could even call it for that. But given the irregular hours and the changes and the different things going on, it's just a bit more complicated than straight payroll admin. Anyway, we're looking at software that would do that. The one that we're using doesn't quite make the grade, and we're having to do personal interventions sort of too often. But the person went to a few places and made the inquiries, and then we got a call back from one of them that, and I ended up taking the call, or it got put through to me anyway. So now this was a youngish woman, a youngish girl, like a early post-pubescence, I would say, and she spoke like she's about 14, but she must have been older. And she had that patter of the placard waving NGO radical activist type pattern, but she sort of got to the chase on this software that they were selling, where she said words to the effect that the software would make sure that you don't hire Nazis and white supremacists. Neo-Nazis was the term, or white supremacists she used. So straight away my antenna just shot out and go, oh yeah, tell me more. And she was saying that they have an applicant screening module, so their software goes on the front end of your website. So when somebody applies for a job or something like that, they go through this portal that this software firm's running, and they then, using an offshore registered company, so they can bypass privacy laws and things like that in the Western country, they do a full internet search on this person, and they try and get it out of you on the application process or registering process or whatever. They try and get it out of you on to say, would you have any sort of aliases or online activity, and even try and get your IP address, picking up without your knowledge or consent. With that information, they then go off and do what they say. They've got super extensive search software, so they can go back a million years or however long the internet's been around, to find out posts the person may have made, and if those posts would be viewed today as being edgy or racist or misogynist. Now, they're only filtering for Nazis, racism, misogyny, and anti-mass immigration. So anything that may be deemed as anti the globalist project is thrown into a basket to say, well, Nazi, that's it. If you disagree with mass migration, if you disagree with affirmative action, or question it, or have made any post about it, or if you've ever made a derogatory comment about a non-white person, then you are effectively a neo-Nazi. And so they do this exhaustive searching. So they claim, she claims, unconvincingly by the way, but she claims they can pick up anything that somebody's done since the internet began. And no, I don't believe that. I mean, people could have changed computers. They have different IP addresses. They might have had different handles, but they claim, or she claimed, that they can go into and look at files so that even somebody may call themselves, the 123 so and so, that they'll be able to find their real names and then compare that to the C. I don't know how they do that. And again, I doubt it, but let's assume for the moment it's possible, because they're claiming to have these extensive search and verification capabilities, and on word search and phrase search and all sorts of things like that, including, say, being online gaming, for example. That was something that she brought up, because that's a hotbed of fascism apparently. And now she's spouting lines here, but the way she was behaving, we're surrounded by Nazis. Nazis are everywhere, and we have to stop them. And one of the ways we can stop this is prevent them from getting jobs, or prevent them from getting employment. You don't want to. Oh, we don't want to employ Nazis here. Good. Now it's interesting she'd be that open and candid with me. Why would she assume that I'm sort of on her team or would be in agreement with these gross illegalities? Again, she's young, and again, she only hangs out with people that see the world in through in the same way that she does, and they're all kids together, placard waving, and she's got no concept of the world, responsibility, the law, legal accountability. She's got no concept of it. She's, again, probably 12 years old emotionally, even though she might be like 20 years old physically. But it was the way and the vehemence she expressed it, the mission. We have to stop the fucking Nazis. We have to do it, and this is one of the ways we can. Don't you want to stop Nazis? And this idea you can arbitrarily prevent somebody from gaining employment because when they were 15 years old on a I don't know, some gaming website, they made some edgy comment is insane. It's madness, for goodness sakes. But this is what what they were selling. Now, they also claim they can look at they can find out how many jobs the applicant has applied for over the last however many years. Again, she said, for as long as the internet's been around, what jobs they were, and did they ever work there, and so on. So, where did they apply, and even allegedly being able to get copies of their CV. Now, I then asked about, I'm milking it for all I can get, information-wise, because it's like, whoa, this is insane. This is just the world we're now living in. It makes 1984 look soft, so I asked her about things like, well, what about, if someone's been in prison before, or charged with a crime, or some was been, some form of detention. Or what if they've been arrested while they're street marching about climate change and these sorts of things? What if they've sued former employers for sexual harassment and so on? Like, if somebody's been at 5 jobs and they've sued 5 times sexual harassment, there's clearly a problem there. Do we? What about if they've they're drifters and they only stay at a job for a week or two or something. These sorts of things that you'd think would be material. Oh no, we're not really interested in that. And a bit of a sigh and a yawn from the other side of the phone there. Really the issue here isn't to get a qualified candidate, or isn't to get it isn't any of those things. The issue here is to stop Nazis. That's the issue. So they claim they can produce profiles of, this person's white and they're 41 years old and this and that, and they're from the oppressor class, and really, why would you want to give them a job? Even if there's nothing in their background, they're white, they're straight, they're male. Gee whiz. Why would you want to give them anything? It's better that you give the black lesbian trans person the job, and if they're not qualified, hey, who cares? It doesn't matter. And so he's very much from this new age. Now, this is not the first time I've heard not as in the same level of detail with the reach that these people claim that they have, but this idea that they are producing software, recruitment software in this case, software to specifically prevent Nazis from getting employment. That's as scary as fuck. Not just because they're breaking the law and they're again using this offshore third world positions sub company, but they're so brazenly out there advertising it and saying this is what they do. Now this young girl shooting her mouth off, as far as she's concerned, it's a crusade. She is a crusader fighting the Nazis, and therefore she's doing good things. The idea of, and I mentioned, this sounds rather illegal. How do you deal with that? So a bit of a chuckle. We use an offshore company, so we don't have to be accountable. Holy fuck! She's even reveling in the idea of, we've outsmarted the law, so we can invent this myth of Nazis. Fuck. So I'm aghast and horrified by this, but as far as she's concerned and the company, as far as I can tell, the company's concerned, they're doing great work. They're stopping Nazis, which makes them virtuous. Now, if you look at their website, they don't make these claims on the website, but make indirect claims such as undesirable elements, or you don't really want to employ a misogynist, do you? These sort of things. Now, if they provided definitions of these things, you go, okay, but they're using the activist sort of gender studies definition of misogynist and racist and so on, and claiming that again, that someone who may be a million years old today when they were 15 on a gaming platform said something that was kind of slightly edgy. That's it, Nazi. And so they'll produce they can even offer to automatically say, this was something interesting too. They can, if you set this, if you accept this setting, they will automatically send a letter or an email or whatever of your application didn't work out or was unsuccessful. That they'll send a letter like this, or an email out to just on the base. So if you set the applicant software to say that anybody with a slightly edgy past, as in they may have made a comment they disagree with mass migration or something like that, then they will automatically just send out a letter. You didn't get the job. You Nazi motherfucker. Well, no, I wouldn't put that in. You just didn't get the job. So the information doesn't get handled. No one even sees a CV or does an interview or evaluates the candidate. Nothing. They just Nazi, and they're intercepted at that point just by word search software. Scary as fuck. You've been with Tacitus today, your pushback channel, and thank you for listening.